ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to AS Astrology. Now this video will be about Jupiter Mahadasha. So very first we need to know that how do we calculate the results of a Mahadasha. What happens is we need to see wherever Jupiter is placed, wherever it is aspecting, which houses it rules. And to go into more depth, we need to see which nakshatra it is placed in and where is the nakshatra lord placed and which houses the nakshatra lord is ruling. For example, if a person is Gemini ascendant, then he has Jupiter in the 9th house. Okay, so now how do we deal with this kind of position is that Jupiter is going to activate the 9th house first of all, because it is sitting there. Then it rules 7th house and 10th house. So 7th, 9th and 10th are going to be active. Another thing, if suppose it is in the nakshatra of Satabhishak. So Satabhishak is ruled by Rahu and suppose Rahu is in the 5th house. So now which houses are activating is 5th house, 7th house, 9th house and 10th house. Okay, so this tells me that a person can go into some higher learning and can start a partnership business or can be promoted to a higher level. Okay, and of course 9th house is active. That means that a person's luck is active during that time and a person can even go into higher education or long distance travel along with the spouse, since 7th house is also active. Okay, so this is how we see the results of a Mahadasha. Now, in this video, we will discuss on a mundane level what results Jupiter produces. Of course, this may or may not relate completely with everyone because you see the condition of Jupiter has the most say whether it is going to give good results or it is going to be bad results. So first of all, there is a misconception of people that people think that Jupiter Mahadasha is going to be one hell of a Mahadasha, like one good Mahadasha. Okay, but that is actually a very big misconception. Basically, what Jupiter does is Jupiter brings a lot of responsibility. And Jupiter is actually the cranky old master who is here to teach us. So Jupiter and Saturn are the planets which actually teaches us a lot of lessons in their Mahadasha. So during Jupiter Mahadasha, a person can fail number of times, but a person will gain some wisdom or some knowledge or some, you can even say, some practical experience from those failures. Because Jupiter is here to teach us something. The other thing you'll see is a person becomes highly optimistic. One thing you'll observe is that even if a person, you meet the most pathetic human being in the earth, okay, that person will also behave quite wise, optimistic and like a guru in Jupiter Mahadasha. A person naturally develops those qualities in himself during this Mahadasha. You know, when what happens is in any what happens in any Mahadasha, a person tends to behave like that planet a lot. If you are into your moon Mahadasha, you'll become quite soft. If you are in sun Mahadasha, you'll become very proudy and egoistic. If you are in Jupiter Mahadasha, you'll become very wise, helpful and optimistic. If you are in Venus Mahadasha, you'll become very soft, a person who needs that unionship, who needs to be belonged to someone. You know, that's how Mahadashas play a role in our life. But of course, Antardasha and Pratyantardasha, then Suksham Dasha, all of these have the most say, because what Mahadasha does is that a Mahadasha is for a large number of years. It is for a larger period and you won't be able to see the exact results all the days in that period. basically the results are spread over 20 years, 18 years, 19 years. But Antardasha, that comes ahead for what period? For 6 months, maybe one year, maybe 2 years. So that has the most say. That actually adds the flavor to this mahadasha. So here Jupiter mahadasha comes for 16 years. So 16 years you will become quite optimistic and wise and very hopeful. Even if you have no money in your bank account, still you'll act very optimistic. The other thing you'll see is Jupiter mahadasha makes a person encounter some mystical knowledge. Maybe you come across tantra, mantras, or astrology, or any occult science during this Jupiter mahadasha. And since you know Jupiter is basically all the elderly people, all those people who are gurus to us, or simply gurus, it doesn't necessarily means that you will have an encounter with a guru. What it actually means is that you yourself become a guru. You will be the one who is preaching everybody, advising everybody, counseling everybody. The other thing you'll see is that during Jupiter mahadasha, you will see souls departing from the earth. It's not like you'll have that vision. It's not like that. It's like someone in your ancestors or someone around you will definitely pass away. I personally, I got this information of course through my mentor, but I personally observed this, that I have lost my people, like my ancestors, whichever who are gone from here. They have passed basically in my Jupiter antradashas or pratyantradashas, and I have even experimented this with all of my closed ones, and where I knew that yeah, they have lost somebody in their life, or simply in your neighborhood, that can even be possible. So Jupiter mahadasha does becomes a lot of such encounters in your life. That's why maybe it hits you with that wisdom, with that wisdom about what life is. Now, other thing you'll see is a person naturally becomes a very good manager. A person naturally wants to manage everything in their life, be it be in their finances, be it be career, be it be their home life, everything. They become a natural manager, because you see, Jupiter was the minister. Jupiter advises the king, and Jupiter is the one who manages everything. So a person naturally can go into courses of management, MBA, all of that. Advising, counseling. Now the other important thing you'll see during Jupiter mahadasha is that Jupiter is the Jiva Karka. It brings life. Sun basically lightens up the house it is sitting in and where it is aspecting. But Jupiter is a planet, wherever it sits, it brings some responsibility with that house. If it is in your first house, you yourself will become a manager and responsible for everything. If it is in the ninth house, it means that your father, you will have some responsibilities towards your father. You will feel that you are responsible for your father, and if it's in fourth house, that will be towards the mother. Okay, so wherever Jupiter sits, it brings that heaviness in that house, but wherever it is aspecting, it brings that house into life. That's why we say that if Jupiter is transiting through the fifth house, or it is activating the fifth house by aspect, it actually brings children in your life. So Jupiter brings life. Jupiter brings celebration in your life. So during Jupiter mahadasha, you'll see a person will get married. or a person will have a lot of celebrations around them. Maybe people in their family get married. Maybe people in their surroundings, even friends, all of that are getting married, having kids. Jupiter is the karka for children as well, so it can even bring your own children, or your loved ones can have their own children during this time. Personally, I have seen people getting married in Jupiter Venus, Jupiter Saturn, Rahu Saturn, Rahu Saturn as well, but that is off topic. Rahu Jupiter as well. Whenever, for specifically a female, because Jupiter represents the spouse for a female, it can definitely bring marriage. I have actually seen a lot of people getting married in Jupiter, Venus, Jupiter, however you can take it. Even in the Antardasha, Pratyantardasha, even in Suksham Dasha, I have seen that. Now the other thing you'll see is that Jupiter also acts like a manager, a provider, and a protector. And that is because Jupiter is exalted in the sign of Cancer. So whenever Jupiter mahadasha comes in, a person naturally has the tendency to protect other people, because that helpful nature, that providing nature comes in with Jupiter. But one negative thing you'll see with Jupiter is that Jupiter can bring humiliation or infamousness. You can be humiliated because you were trying to protect someone else. Because you were trying to protect someone else's reputation. And because of that, somehow you are humiliated by that person who you were trying to protect, or by other people. And one thing also I have personally observed with Jupiter and Mercury as well, and specifically if Jupiter and Mercury are somehow connected by conjunction, by aspect, or by anything, if they are kendra to each other, I have seen a person is misunderstood in the society or by other people at some point of time. Some misunderstanding, or they can be blamed for something which they have not done, or which event has not happened. So there comes one negative effect of Jupiter Mahadasha. The other thing is Jupiter Mahadasha also brings a lot of responsibility over a person. Because Jupiter is what? Jupiter is the most benefic person. Jupiter is the guru. So a guru feels that it's his responsibility to guide other people to go on, on the righteous path. So that's why there's a lot of responsibility during that time. So guys, this was my analysis about Jupiter Mahadasha. I hope it is helpful. If you guys want to have personal consultations from me, you can check out the link below, www.asastrology.com, and under the consultation section, you can book a personal reading for yourself. Okay, bye-bye. Take care.